Hey guys, we are live. My name is Dr. Sharnael Wolverton Sihon, and we're super excited about this 123 contact. So we have some really cool guests. They've both been on with us actually multiple times each, and we just have fun with them. We're just making fun about this, aren't we, Craig?
Yeah, well, I mean, this came about because it was. We'll get into this more on the in the actual chat, but you and I were having a conversation during the whole Chinese balloon fiasco, weren't we? And all this programming came up again. It's like, man, people are still having an issue with this stuff. So we thought, let's do a show on it. And like, we've got obviously Derek and Lily, who are two amazing people to comment on this topic. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yes. So before we get started and get them on here, they're backstage. I just wanted to remind you that this April the 23rd, we have our members meeting, our monthly members meeting, and you're going to be really excited. I know many of you who've watched before. Dr. Stephen Haresfield just confirmed this morning that he is going to come back with us, and he's going to do a private Q&A just for you guys. So I'm kind of blown away that he's giving more time to us, especially something so intimate and private. And uh, I know, right? So yeah, he's the guy who wrote the Metaphysical Bible. And yeah, any thoughts on that, Craig?
I our show with him was the first time I actually came across him, and I've been following him since. And his posts are just brilliant. He is brilliant, and I mean, the show, I was just like loving everything he was saying. So I'm excited for that one. I've got loads of questions for him. So
I think we had maybe more feedback from that show than any show we've ever done. Everyone was like, get him back, get him back, get him back, get him back, get him
there's
back.
something about it, very unique, very very special man indeed. Yeah.
Yes. And we're not only getting him back, but we're getting him back private where you guys can have FaceTime with him, actually talk to him one-on-one, ask your own questions to his face and get your answers right back. So if you're not a member, you can actually still become a member, and there should be a button here somewhere when you whatever in the description on how to be a member. It just helps us to keep this going. And personally, I really love it because it's a great time for us to see you guys' faces. Obviously, in this show, we see your names in the chat, and Amber's here with us. Edward's here, Deborah Elliott, Chantel. I want to shout out to our members. Sandra Smith is here. We thank you so much because we wouldn't do this without you. So, honestly, from our hearts, we thank you for your support. And again, looking forward to seeing you guys with that. But without further ado, I guess share, tag, give us some good algorithm response so this can get out. Magda's here. Oh, she just popped on too. We're going to go ahead and get Lily and Derek on with us, and we'll just get going here.
Yeah, it's good. Let's do it.
Yay! Woohoo! Let's see, Derek, how's it going? Lily, how are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. How are you doing?
Well, awesome. So, I don't know if you heard what Craig was saying earlier about why we were actually doing this in the first place, but the balloon thing came up. Craig, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, of course. Well, again, when the whole Chinese balloon thing was going on, what was that, last month, whenever it was, and it was astounding to hear, like, what's that, Fidel Castro's son? Oh, Justin Trudeau used the. That was a joke, by the way. It wasn't, but whatever. He used the words. You know, there are unidentified flying objects in the sky, and all of a sudden there was this UFO narrative, and all this programming came up, particularly again with the communities we're in, Sharnael and Derek, and particularly. And one of the reasons why we've got Lily on is because she's having contact. She's really putting herself out there and having these amazing experiences. But all this programming was coming up about, oh, it's demons, you know, oh, it's all demonic and all nasty, all this religious programming. And it was just like, man, we've still got work to do. So we thought, let's do a show about it, or not just about Chinese balloons, just about contact in general, that, like, you know, there's no difference to what is going on now is what happened in ancient times, in the biblical times, when they had contact with these high dimensional beings, and they wrote it down, and these texts have become religious texts. So yeah, just to get real day encounters, experiences, knowledge and wisdom on the matter, just to help people make contact.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah, contact is basically, that's like the next step for us. The star beings are calling out to their Starseed family members. We're ready. I'm ready.
Indeed. Yeah.
And it's a very beautiful experience. Like with the Chinese balloon thing, one of those actually flew through Missouri. Like one of my astrophotography friends got a really good picture of it, like really close up. I think a bunch of places were trying to like buy it off of him, like news media outlets and stuff. It's just, from my perspective, it's just drama. They're just trying to be dramatic. They didn't actually shoot down any UFOs. They wouldn't. Yeah, they wouldn't. They're so technologically advanced, you're not going to be able to shoot them down. So I think that was just a staged thing to, get a rise out of the people. But then I also see it from like a higher perspective, that the ETs are like, they know this is happening. They're okay with it, because then it's starting to get people to think also. It's kind of like the higher perspective that I see it from. But they're 1,000 steps ahead. The star beings are. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Can you hear us, Derek? Are you on? Is he on? I don't know if you can hear us at the moment.
Can you hear us, Derek? I hear one.
He gave a thumbs up.
Yeah. It's okay. We'll let him get a signal, and because I think Derek was running a bit late, so he's just getting established. It's all cool, Derek. You get yourself sorted. But yeah, like I said, for me personally, I mean, Derek is a Christian mystic who is, delved into all these topics. I mean, he has an outrageously popular podcast show, and Lily, I really think you'd go very well on his show. And he's delved into all these topics, and he maintains his Christian faith, and again, he's just a really popular voice in the topic, because whether we like it or not, it's going to happen. And what I'm finding as well, and I'd like you to get your view on this, Lily, as well, and Sharnael and Derek when he's on. There's a big disclosure movement, of we want disclosure. We want to know what the governments are up to. We want to know the secret contacts that they have. Personally, I don't think we're ever going to get it from the government. I think we need to stop looking to the government to supply us with this information. Do you have a perspective on that at all, Lily?
Yeah, definitely. And real quick, I see Tracy from St. Charles. That's where I live.
Oh, get around.
That's crazy. We're neighbors. Yeah, definitely. So with the disclosure movement, I don't know if you guys know Robert White, Order of Light.
Yeah, we've had him on.
Yeah, so he says this phrase a lot that I really like. We are the disclosure. So now all of these starseeds are awakening, and people are having these contact experiences suddenly. And then a lot of, spiritual people are starting to share their story. So I really like that. Like, we are the disclosure. We're going to find more information from just communicating with each other than we ever will from the government. Definitely. Yeah. I wouldn't wait on them. And they're going to try and twist things anyway, most likely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, he's on.
Sitting in the darkness, man. How's it going, guys?
We're all good, Derek. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for coming, Derek. What do you think about all these balloons?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many balloons I've seen. There's a lot of spheres people are seeing.
A lot of what?
Spheres.
Yeah.
Yeah. That seem to be coming down, and people are catching on camera. I had some guys on the podcast just the other day who got some of it on footage, and supposedly they were able to see occupants driving these spheres. In the middle was like a window with some type of humanoid, tall alien gray type entity looking at them in the middle of the sphere. And so, the crazy thing about it is a lot of people's catching this stuff on camera. You know, anybody can go out with their cell phone, and if you stay out there long enough or know how to film or whatever, you're going to catch something on camera. Our skies are teeming with life right now, always have been. But it's very interesting. I've shared a couple videos that I put out of some of the footage I've been capturing, and people have been sending me all of their footage, whether it's for the first time they go out and start filming and they're catching stuff on camera too, or they've been catching this stuff on camera, but they don't have anyone to talk to about it. So it's been awesome to see the feedback, and everybody who is, this stuff is normal. It's been normal for a lot of us. And with whatever they're releasing on the television and news and those things, it's because they have to, because this disclosure is already happening. And so to try to get a hold of the narrative and spin it or profit off of it, which it's going to be fear tactic stuff. But, you know, I don't think that, I think that if we go out there and we make our own contact, which many of us have been doing for years, we find that it's nothing scary about it by any means. And if there's anything scary, it's the powers that are trying to control the narrative. They're very scary, to be honest with you. But what's coming from above, peace, love, and light, for sure. I feel like there's an order to the heavens. Like, and down here, we're talking about evil and where evil aliens dwell and all this kind of stuff. The evil is here. The evil is on this planet, on this earth, and we haven't been welcomed into those densities yet. But some of us are. Some of us came here to evolve this planet and evolve the other humans here, and we're doing a good job, and we're getting a upgrade. And so I think that's why all of this stuff is happening, and we're experiencing it firsthand.
Amen.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, we have the responsibility or opportunity, I should say, to raise our frequency in this season and time to be able to even see or participate or engage in any of that, because they can't come down to us. It's us that are needing to rise up to actually engage in that. And so for people who are like, well, how come I never see anything, or how come I don't have those experiences or whatever, what would you say to be able to get that frequency up in order to check it out and see it? And or what kind of camera are you using, Lily?
So I've caught a decent amount from my cell phone, but I use a Nikon D5300 DSLR camera. So that's kind of like a chunky camera. You don't necessarily have to go that far. You can get like a simple point and shoot. And so that's what I use, a Nikon camera. But you can also do a decent amount on your phone. And yeah, just setting the intention to make contact, sending that intention out there to make contact with beings of the highest love and light. What I found is very helpful is just kind of going out, hanging out in nature, and then don't focus on it too hard, because if you like want it too bad, it like lowers your vibration. They showed me that. There was one night where I went out to shoot astrophotography, and at this point I was seeing ships left and right. So, you know, I went out and then I was looking up. I was like, all right, where are you guys at? And then nothing was happening for a minute. I started getting kind of bummed out because they weren't showing up, and then I just started focusing on something else, started messing with my camera, you know, enjoying the night sky. And then suddenly they popped up and I got the message. See, like, don't try too hard. Just, you know, get in a relaxed state and then we'll be here. So law of attraction can have a spot with it too. But yeah, the main thing is just like raising your vibration and sending the intention out there. And yeah, finding a peaceful kind of like flow state. Also, just getting in a relaxed flow state, like you with the music, Craig. You know, you can get downloads all the time. And TruthSeekah, do you do music as well?
Yeah.
Okay, you're probably getting downloads all the time whenever you're in that flow state. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. No, I agree with all that. using my cell phone. That's what I've been using. And everybody's got them in their pocket. I think it's how bad you want it too. Like, as far as like, how long are you going to stay out there? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I went out there for 10 minutes. I didn't see anything. Well, it just getting started with this stuff, for me, the initiation was hours and hours by myself of stargazing, of praying, of meditating, of trying to find the right heart space or prayer or Hebrew language, like all of that, just kind of exploring until you kind of found something that worked. And this was years ago. But I would say today, from what I'm experiencing, it was something that I was always looking forward to it being nighttime and getting out there very early too. I had a job that I clocked in at like 2:30 in the morning. So I was able to kind of load my truck as a delivery driver and take off and get out there as quick as I could, where it was, I'd show up somewhere 4:30, 5:30 in the morning before the sun rises, and then get out and start meditating still under the morning sky by myself in a random field, a truck stop, wherever I could get, wherever the route was taking me. And I started seeing stuff moving. They start blinking at you. And then the anomalies just started getting more crazy, where it has to be something. But now it's changed over the last several months, because I can go out during the day. And that was the thing of like always wanting it to be nighttime so I can go out at night and have these experiences and be able to see things. And wasn't really capturing anything on camera at the time. It was more of like the camera thing showed up of like a kiss and tell, if you will, these beautiful personal experiences, to where like, hey, I got to catch this on camera. Let's show everybody, versus convincing myself first. But now I could go out during the day and there's always stuff going on. And it's really in the nuances, or what we say it's in the mundane, the spirituality. It's in the nature, as she was saying, stepping out in nature, grounding, and they're all around us. And it seems like the certain beings, certain angels, whatever you want to call them, we call them many names depending on where you're from. They travel in different spectrums of light, including shadows and including darkness. Many people have, these encounters with dark beings that lurk in the shadows and those things, but many of them travel in different rays of light, rays of the sun. So that's been what I've been doing, is filming the sun. Not directly, you'll break your camera. And my camera's already messed up on my phone. I have to zoom in to even use any of the cameras. But if you block the sun out and film the rays, it's almost like the idea that you can't look directly at God. You can't look directly at the source because it's too bright. The glory has to be reduced to different rays and frequencies. But if you block the sun just barely, where you can see just a little bit of the corona of the sun, long enough, and you focus, eventually you'll see things going in and out of the sun, left and right. The anomalies that I'm catching on camera just with my cell phone are mind-blowing. And then now, with that being said, every day there's nothing but jets going and crossing the sun, so we can't see what's going on. All of the chemtrails, all of the jets are going directly towards the sun on beautiful, clear days, and they're making it foggy, they're making it hazy, so we can't see the sun. So if you find a day where it's clear enough, do that with your cell phone, change the gamma, slow it down. That's when the crazy stuff happens, is when you slow the footage down. And I've got hours and hours of footage of doing that. But I think anybody can. I don't think there's anything special about me or any of us. It's the fact that you want it. And the fact that you want it is the initiation if you go out there and ask.
Oh,
Great.
There was a nice Queen van outside, so I had to mute before. Derek, how do you slow the footage down? What do you do?
I'll try to film it as in the highest quality I can on my cell phone, again, blocking the sun, but then I'll take it and bring it into a video editing program on the computer.
Right.
So I'll get in Adobe Premiere Pro. And the weird thing about that is you take even a 5-second clip, 10-second clip, and slow it down 90%, and it turns into a 30-minute to like 3-hour clip. And within the 5 seconds, I mean, that's one of the mind-blowing things to me is how fast many of them are able to move. And there's all kinds of things going on within a millisecond of it. It looks like you're watching a movie, and it looks like it's in real time. But then I have to remember, wow, I slowed this footage down 90%, and there's things moving. There's so much going on. I'll say this from like, a lot of the stuff that I've experienced over the years, I've seen, maybe what we can call nuts and bolts craft and those things. But the majority of what I've seen seem to be living creatures, living entities that have the ability to shapeshift, change form. It hasn't been like nuts and bolts things. I have seen the cigar shaped things as well, but most of it is something that can stop on a dime, turn into something else, and fly away even faster. Mind-blowing stuff that you can't, like, a lot of us in stargazing or looking at the sky, you'll see a flash of light. Hey, I thought I saw something. And you did. If you're able to film it, what's going on in that flash blows your mind. I can't wrap my mind around how my mind doesn't work that fast. I don't know how any entity could, but they do. It's very mind-blowing stuff.
Fascinating. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. When my husband and I have went several times out, and that's the same thing. When we we didn't use Adobe and all that. We just put the camera on slow, or once we filmed it, at the bottom, how you can just like slowly like play it back like on your own. And I was like, what? How did we miss that? Because it's clear. I mean, like big stuff, like looks big and it's right there and it's very, very visible. But we watched it in real time and totally didn't see anything. And so it seems like you're not seeing anything, but you're really seeing it. It's just, I don't know. Yeah.
It's like the spectrum of light that they're picking up.
Yep. They're going so fast that we don't even see it. So that's a really good tip.
Yeah. And I'd like to add to that. So whenever I was going out making contact, like every day, what I would do, same thing. Like at first I was at night was my focus. And then I started doing during the day, and sunset's a really good time. Sunrise and sunset, like the energy is heightened. And I would just go out there and connect with them and spend time out there. And then I'd play back my footage. A lot of this stuff I didn't even see with my own eyes, but it would show up on the camera. And I've gotten like huge orbs a few times that were like right in my front yard in the suburbs. And I'm like, this is happening right in front of us, but we can't see it. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, playing back the footage is good too, because they may be right there. You just can't see them.
Have you learned to like get better at seeing them? Like your eyes adjust versus like you could be out there with somebody else who's their first time and they're like, I don't see anything, but you kind of know what to look for to know like, yeah, there's going to be something on footage.
Yeah. And the feeling. Yeah. I've been out where it's been like both times. Like one time my brother saw something and I didn't, but I asked them. I was like, please show him something, because he was just talking all smack on me about the whole UFO thing. And I'm like, just show him something so he could shut up. And then he saw about 6 shooting stars within like immediately. And I'm like, that's not in the same spot. I was looking up the same sky. I didn't see anything. And they told me, it's frequency based. So you could be out there, and if you're supposed to see it, then you will see it and somebody else won't, and vice versa. So I've also been out where I saw something and nobody else has. But it's also about the feeling too. If you start feeling some like love or heightened emotions, hi Lakeside Laura, then you know that there's something around. You'll start feeling those high vibrations.
Something I want to interject here, because what I said at the beginning was this has come about because yes, there was a lot of kind of religious programming of they're all demons. all this negativity, fear-based nonsense. As you just said that, Lily, an actual Bible story has just come to my mind where Elijah prayed for his servant to see what he was seeing.
Oh, wow.
Pretty much the same thing. And I mean, in the Bible translation says that there was angels everywhere, and Elijah was just like, yeah, we're fine, we're covered. But his servant, Gehazi was his name, couldn't see anything. And he prayed, he said, I pray that my servant would see this as well. And his eyes were opened, and he was like, whoa, I can see him now. That just popped into my head as you said that. Like, there's an actual biblical reference for what you just said.
That's amazing. That just gave me chills.
Yeah.
I have a couple questions too regarding the orbs that you just brought up, because I don't know if you're familiar with John Paul Jackson. I know Derek and Craig would be, but I'm asking this to all of you, even Craig. We saw major orbs when there was spiritual activity and or worship, or particularly in this one place that I would go with John Paul up on this peak or mountain or pinnacle when we would do worship, and we weren't looking for anything, but when we would use cameras, you could see it, and some people saw it with a naked eye. What do you think? Number one, what do you think orbs are? And number two, Craig and I get this all the time, and we have our own opinions or ideas about this, but what are angels versus ETs, or are they the same thing, or demons? And I mean, both of those questions have to be talked about why we are on the show today, for sure. Yes, I know I miss John Paul too, Tracy, but any ideas?
You want me to start? Okay. Well, so the orbs, from my understanding, so some of the orbs that I caught have actually been like whole ships, just really, really tiny. Somehow they can do that. I was visited by a golden orb, and it sent me a vision. This was my first time ever initiating contact. I couldn't sleep that night. I was just so mind blown. But they sent me a vision of like a being with light blue skin, no hair, kind of Star Trek looking silver uniform, and other crew members behind her. And those were like the inhabitants or the controllers of this orb. But the orb was like that big. And then I've also caught orbs of light where if you zoom in on them, you can see silhouettes. So I think somehow they can project their consciousness and shrink themselves down. So I think some of it is that. Some of these orbs may be entire ships. Some of them may be beings. Some of them may be elementals. I've caught some other things where I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Like, I have no idea what that is. But it felt, friendly and interesting. Just all sorts of interesting anomalies. And some of them I know are the Pleiadians that I was seeing. And if you guys have ever heard about the Merkaba, it's a pyramid and then an upside down pyramid. So it looks like a 6-pointed star. So apparently we have these that we can activate around our body, our light body. And yep, exactly. The Merkaba.
Yeah, and it's our spaceship right here.
Yes. Yeah, they call it
in the Bible, guys. It's in the Bible.
That's amazing. So yeah, I think that's what a lot of it is too. The Merkaba is spinning so fast it looks like an orb.
Yeah. Have you guys seen my Merkaba footage?
No.
What? It's like that videos went viral, man. I got so much footage, and I'm just kind of.
You put it on screen share?
Well, I'm on my phone. I can try. Yeah, let me pull something up, and I'll pull something up here in a second. But yeah, I'm catching the Merkabas on camera.
Wow.
And it's crazy because they can change shape at will. They can turn into a diamond, even almost like in some kind of protective mode, if you will. And then it's strange because it's a Merkaba. You're like, oh look, there's the form, and then it turns into a diamond, and then it loses its color and becomes like, it looks metal, but it's like shiny or whatever. And then it turns into something else, spins, and takes off, but it's flying around as a Merkaba, the 6-pointed Star of David, essentially, and they're depositing things out the bottom of them. They're like gathering things and coming back and depositing it in the sun. And the sun anomalies are mind blowing. And what are they? In Christianity, we want to just label everything good or bad, angels or demons.
Mm-hmm.
There's such a, nothing is as it seems. Nothing is it's that simple, including the angels. There's many types of angels. They have many ranks. They have many roles, many orders, and that's all throughout the Bible. So the orbs and the angels and all of that stuff, when you're filming the sun, it's interesting to note that there's a rainbow around the sun, and the rainbow opens and closes. And I have to believe that it's some type of portal. When it's open and it's bigger, they call it the eye of God. They call it a sun halo. They have many different names for it. But sometimes it gets really big, and it's just really big circular rainbow around the sun. And then on both sides, there's a light that appears in the rainbow that connects it on both sides. Amazing. It's beautiful to look at. Strange thing is every time it appears, the jets come to block it out, to spray chemtrails on beautiful days. So for me, about filming and when to film, if it's a clear day and the jets are like on cue, taking off directly towards the sun, directly towards it, and they're crisscrossing, blocking it out, I know, hurry up, get my camera, because there's going to be some hardcore activity that they don't want us to see. These beings going into the sun, coming out. Same thing about star systems. I've seen them go into the stars and things like that. The sun, it is our star, right? So, what are they? We'll call them angels. Are they physical? Do they live on other planets? Probably everything that you can imagine is real. That's what it seems like. And if it wasn't real, the fact that you imagined it, it became real. Creating worlds as someone who is formed in the image of a God, who has that power to think about something, speak it, create it, and then it's there. There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new. So most of this stuff, when you think it's already in your heart space, it's in your DNA, and you're just remembering it from a land before time, if you will. And to sum it up as something really easy, it's a disservice to anyone or anything up like that. But I think we can look at the book of Revelations, beautiful chapter 21, about the different levels of heaven and the different colors of heaven, which refer back to crystals and amethyst and topaz and onyx and all of these things. So when you're filming the sun, you can see different layers and different entities, beings, ships, all of that are living and traveling within that layer, that density. And I think that there's it's a dimension. It's a dimension that coexists around it. And they're swimming in different, traveling in different directions. One layer and you can see it turning. It's wheels within wheels. All of the old diagrams from the occult art and those things of the solar system or of the sun, it looks just like that. And myriads of angels and living creatures and ships and so much stuff that you can capture with your cell phone today, right now. Anybody can do it. It's wild. And then you go film it, you dissect it, and you call it what it is. I got so much footage. I want to have a good understanding of what it is even before I share some of it. Just like the government are trying to control a narrative. I've got to be honest with you. I want to have a narrative too. I don't want to push fear and crazy hysteria and all that kind of stuff. And some of this, I'd have to admit, again, it is very scary. It's mind-blowing stuff.
Interesting.
But it's more beautiful.
Yeah.
What's scary is just awe. It's like it's a reverence.
It's unknown, isn't it, as well? We fear what we don't know.
Yes.
That's all it is we don't know what it is. So our natural instinct is fear, and we need to get over that, I believe.
What do you think, Greg?
What was the question again?
About orbs and then like angels versus demons.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's clear that there are negative entities. There's negative humans, of course there are. And there's some, I think I heard someone say recently, because there's been a whole thing of, hell and what is hell? Does hell even exist? All this sort of stuff. Yes, hell exists. We're in it. If you haven't noticed. What it means is being trapped in these lower dimensions, the matrix. And I think, these beings are multidimensional. We're multidimensional. And what's happening is this matrix of control is breaking off us. And we're starting to see, we're starting to experience, we're starting to have, all these amazing things happen. And we're realizing, what? There's nothing to be afraid of. This, if you fear it, it will harm you, or you will attract bad stuff. And I think we need to overcome our own fear and anxiety and demonizing what we don't understand, because you're just going to attract the negative stuff into your life, and we need to stop that. I just wanted to move on to one more thing, because I know that Lily's been doing this recently. I'd love to get Derek's view on it as well. I've seen footage of Sasquatch moving as an orb. And, some people class Sasquatch as an elemental. They're very much hidden in the sort of the forests and nature. And we've had this idea that Sasquatch is just sort of like floating around in forests, just existing. I think they're a lot more engaged with us than we've realized. And we've had Mike Paterson on the show, a guy from Canada who, I don't know if you've heard of him. If you haven't seen his channel, I highly recommend it. He's got some of the most outrageous sound footage of them screaming and shouting and talking. But he's got footage where he'll hear them talking, and then there'll be orbs flying around, and then he'll get a smack on the head. They'll be hitting him, but they're in and all this kind of stuff. Really crazy stuff happen. So I know you've just done a recent kind of contact with Sasquatch, Lily, and Derek, I'd love to get your perspective as well. But what do you think about that, about engaging with the elementals and things like that, and how they travel and move dimensionally?
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing, very mind-blowing, the whole shape-shifting thing. So whenever I had contact with them, I could feel them around me, but I couldn't see them with my physical eyes, but I saw them psychically. So they're also very psychic. And that's how they made contact with me. I saw them with my mind's eye. It's like I'm seeing into another dimension. Mm-hmm. So I saw a whole family of them there. And yeah, I bet it's kind of hurts my brain thinking like how they can just, move from one spot, change into an orb and change into that. But yeah, and they also have a connection with the star people. They have a relationship with the star people. Yes. And I was pretty blown away. So I went to Arkansas recently, and that's where I had this contact experience with, and they stayed with us all weekend. They're even still, like I saw them again last night. They've been hanging out with me since I returned from Arkansas. And Arkansas has a bunch of crystals under it, and there's known for having Sasquatch in the area. I asked, because I do live activations every Sunday on my YouTube channel. I asked if they would be willing to join in, the Sunday activation and make contact with the audience and connect with them. Wow. I wanted to ask their permission first, and they were totally down. And they've been just like hanging out, kind of like assisting, doing energy work on me. And it sounds like, yes, they do. They are very involved, but only for those who are ready, and they want to become more involved is what I'm getting from it. They were very sweet. I have heard that they can be like a little bold. No.
Yeah. They're very powerful beings, I believe. I mean, they can snap a tree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, lots of times. I mean, I know Derek's got something, but I was gonna jump in because I went to my chiropractor, and he is like, he saw the show, and I didn't know that he was like a Bigfoot dude, like all about it. Goes on treks, knows all the people who do all the things on YouTube and what have you, and Mike and the different people that we've had. And he told me about this lady who I want to get on the show, but she is actually a vet, and she specializes in genetics. So several people had got together with their samples of what they had been finding, whether, whatever in the dirt, hair, trees, sample, like just picked up DNA samples and asked her to do an analysis on it. And when they sent it off, she sent, I think, over 140 samples. I might be wrong, but I know it was over 100. And when they came back and gave the results, they said, did you discover another type of human? Because this is another animal, because this is actually not human. The geno, you know, when a baby's born, there's like the male and the female, and I choose to remember if it was, they could recognize one of them as a human, whether it was the man or the female, and then the other one was nothing that they had in their register. And they have this like ginormous bank of genetics from the entire world, and it didn't fit any species that we have tested so far. And so she gave the evidence out, and then she was actually really shunned, and I think she lost her vet license, and like all kinds of stuff has happened since then. But now they're doing like dog people samples, and they're asking for like it costs a lot of money to do these experiments, and I think she's trying to raise money right now for the dog men, because they're all bringing samples for that, and I think they need like 20 grand or something. But I've been in contact with her trying to see about maybe getting her on the show. But anyway, Derek, go back to what you were saying. I just think that's fascinating that literally they have physical evidence. This is not just like, oh, I think I saw something with my camera, but like they have DNA, you know?
Yeah. I go back into the ancient texts. You know, I love the Bible and many of the old stuff that this stuff was common knowledge, right? Yeah. And we're so out of sync with nature. We're out of sync with everything. You know, we're out of sync provenly to, we can't even gather our own drinking water. So they bottle water for us and sell it to us, and we'll pay it. We'll pay whatever for the bottle of water versus being able to capture rainwater, filter it, go to a well. Water is everywhere. Energy is everywhere. We're so disconnected. But going through antiquity, I bought this. Let me see if I can change my camera. I don't know how easy it is to do, but I purchased and it's okay. Here it is. Let's try this. Maybe. Goodness, I purchased a magazine from the 1600s, and it wasn't a magazine. It was a one page out of it. Let me see if I can just show this a little bit. I'll just do it on the front cam. And so this is from a magazine that was entitled The Gentleman's Magazine. And today, even being out of sync and dumbed down, what would you think a gentleman's magazine today would be? Probably. And these were stories of antiquity. And so this is a Knights Templar. This is out of a magazine from the 1600s. But this painting here is from a tapestry in a church from the 1300s. And so they did the story about the Knights Templar who went on these crusades and hunts to destroy the remains of the Nephilim, the mixed beings, the hybrids, to destroy them. And this is some type of creature that they have, like an animal and a human mixed, that they have tied to some type of pole. And I don't know if he's melting and forming into it, or they're cutting his head off, but he's like tied to it. And then you can look at the bottom. I'm sorry, this is very hard to do. But this is it. So it's 4 images, and it's like these steps, and he's melting into it. So this was something in antiquity, and it's the whole story on it. So and I bought this. What I found is that the so-called mixed entities that were mixed with humans, the ones that looked different and looked like animals, they hunted them and killed them. Biblically, they were given a role as keepers of Solomon's temple, the ones who would learn the law, the ones who could be tamed, the ones who became more civilized and sophisticated than animal. That if they could learn the law, if they could not kill, steal, and destroy, and fight that animal instinct within them, God gave them a seat in the temple to serve the priest. And so after some time, there was a decree by the Knights Templar, the Knights of Solomon's Temple, to do an ethnic cleansing and to rid the world of all of them, to erase their memory off of the face of the earth. That God says, let them serve in the temple. Then we hear stories of Solomon, how they helped to build the temple and all of those things. But God said that he would remember them. And so now we have even a celestial temple, because we know that that temple was a mirror of what's going on in the heavens. And aren't their names remembered in the stars? Isn't the zodiac and the cosmos named and pictured after different animals and different, even hybrids of serpents and mermaids and all types of things that are combined, a combination. So when it comes to Sasquatch and those things, very much so, when it taps into being multidimensional, because it said that even the unicorns were hunted for their magical properties.
Yeah.
And what would we do today if we found a unicorn? What would we do today if we found a Sasquatch? They'd put it in a cage somewhere. They would cut it open. They would extract. If we're doing that to elephants and to rhinos for their horns,
Sharks.
like, wouldn't we do that if we knew that a unicorn held magical properties in its blood or in its horns to hunt these things? So when we're talking about the evil aliens and the evil beings, like what's going on the earth, man, this is some pretty dark stuff. But I do think that the Sasquatch and those guys fit into that category of, where are they now? Are they able to cloak and go invisible? Are they in a place like Antarctica or in the hollow earth, as many people have said, where they've been given a place to live where they won't be hunted? Like if they live here and stay here, they won't be hunted. All of the ancient maps show which region, which part of the earth that the dogmen lived on. Mm-hmm. And there's stories of the giants, of the dogmen, of the winged people, and people who went there and actually met them said that they looked scary and looked grotesque, but they were very civilized and nice. So just because it looks different and it's scary doesn't mean that it's evil. So I think that Sasquatch and many other divine beings that we still share and occupy this space with exist and coexist with us.
Yeah, I know Craig's about to talk. The unicorn is also in the Bible for those watching. And this lady did actually say that it was Nephilim when the genetics, and she also has genetics for mermaids. Like it's fact. It's not. Anyway, what were you gonna say, Craig?
Oh, I wasn't really. I was just gonna go amazing, something like that. No, it's just I think getting back to the whole idea of contact with these beings. That the fact that we're having this conversation is probably inspired because they want to have contact. And I think that's the message, is that, they want us to be in a place where we're ready, where we're like Derek said, we're not going to hunt them. We're not going to try and harm them, because they can be harmed. I mean, you hear the stories of these sort of ETs that have crashed in a craft. And what have we done? We've taken them out. We've questioned them. We've beat them. They've ended up dying. Some horrible stories about what humans have done to these beings. So I don't blame them for sort of being shrouded. I can see that, Derek. Is that a Merkaba?
Wow.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
Oh.
Amazing.
Do you mind saying where this was?
In my backyard.
Dude, I swear it is like that's. I'm making contact in my backyard in the middle of the suburbs, and nobody even notices. It's crazy.
Why is my lights flickering?
That is amazing.
Wow, that is some picture.
That is very, very distinctly looks exactly like this.
Yep.
Wow.
Good
And
job.
someone was literally saying, is that the Star of David?
In a three-dimensional.
Yes, the Merkaba is the star, but it's just it's not flat; it's dimensional.
Yep.
Interesting. Yes, and it's in Ezekiel.
It is. Yep.
Wow.
This is it. So we must get over this demonizing this stuff. This is hidden for us, I believe, not from us, but for us, and we have to start engaging this stuff and being open, because whether we like it or not, it's happening. And like I say, these guys are testament that this is happening. I think we're all having encounters. It's just we're all, not everyone's kind of remembers it or is aware. You know, we all have an aspect of us that is walking with these beings. We all have a team, an unseen team. You know, whether you call them guardian angels or whatever you call them, your star family, whatever. We have them. They're around us. They're watching us. They're helping us all the time. And it's just time that we just start setting our intention and engaging them, welcoming them. And you know, watch the magic happen when we start doing that stuff, because they will come in. But what I've also found as well, because when I started sort of saying, you know, I want to see some stuff, the more I asked, the more kind of crap came up in me. Because two things, I think, as they draw closer to you, it will draw the stuff out you, you know, triggers, issues, unhealed wounds, and you've got to deal with that stuff. But it's for the purpose of being healed. Anybody got any comments on that, and any sort of experiences that you're willing to share?
Yeah, 100%. The first year of contact was, I mean, definitely a roller coaster. I did so much healing. So, I mean, this is a little bit extreme. I don't know if everybody will have to go through this, but yeah, I mean, weeks of just crying in my bed, meditating, you know, doing all of this healing work. And whenever I moved into this new place back in September, the star beings told me that there was a portal in here the night before I moved in. And I think there are portals lots of places, but the energy is definitely like heightened in here, especially in the activation room. We catch like EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon sometimes, so you can actually like hear it. Since I moved in here, loads more trauma from past lives started coming up. And I knew that it's because the vibration was raising and that stuff had to come out. So that is that's a really good point. Why don't they just walk up to us? First off, it would probably be very shocking. I mean, a lot of them are very tall too. So that's something that I'm like working through, because I'm like 5 foot and I'm like, okay, whenever I see you guys, you're going to be very tall, aren't you? But, and yeah, it'll draw out the lower vibration. So it may not be like safe or comfortable. That's just something that you have to work through. But yeah, anyway, so I agree with that 100%, Craig. You're right.
Yeah, it's you know, these so-called sightings or whatever, like, you know, what it does for somebody. I know what it does for me. For some people, it scares them. Like, they're like, the thought that other life forms exist, it scares them, whether you would call them aliens or angels or whatever, from a Christian perspective. And it's so strange to me. I can definitely see that, right? If you know, because they think that it undoes the Bible. But for me, it like goes deeper into the Bible, because heaven is a place that you can travel to, because the angels in the scriptures were traveling back and forth, bringing messages and so many things from heaven to earth. So when I started seeing these things travel in and out of stars and in and out of the sun, like, it gave me some type of like physical proof as far as my narrative of the Bible. Like, yeah, okay, because that was my prayer the whole time in stargazing, like talking to God, saying, if the seraphim are real, if the cherubim are real, and if they can travel back and forth, will you show me one? Will you please show me one? And people are saying, watch out, be careful, because you could get abducted. You know, you better be careful what you ask for, young man. Like, I would tell my friend, and even friends were scared, not even Christian friends, like, you know, spiritual dudes, and they were scared. And it was like, I knew the scripture says that if you ask your heavenly Father for a fish, he's not going to give you a serpent. And if you ask your heavenly Father for a loaf of bread, he's not going to give you a stone. So me being with that childlike faith, awe and wonder under the stars, Father, if they're real, will you show them to me? I'm out there where everybody else is asleep. And I'm not just wanting to see, yeah, there's that, but I'm like, I'm in communion. Like, I'm tapping in, I'm praying, the meditation, all of that. And then when you see these things respond to your thoughts, respond to your voice.
Yep.
For me, what it lit within me, man, it definitely starts that process of like, here was the thing. early on. It was like, if you want to continue contact, I'll be honest with you, this has been the hardest thing for me ever since. And this was in like 2008 and 9. You know, how do you continue? Meditate more. And for me, it was fast and don't eat meat. Stop eating meat, even if it's for a time. I'm not saying across the board quit, but for a period of time. Get your body into some type of place where you can hear us better. You know, where in the night when we teach you, your body's not processing food, or you didn't eat at 10 o'clock right before you went. All of this play the key. And that was always hard for me. So it's like, and it still is hard for me. Let's just say that. A lot easier. I'll say that too. But what it lit within me, you know, this awe and wonder. And I've been able to capture that feeling and put it in my music. My music talks about these experiences in an artistic way, in a poetic way. And and it's been able to be breadcrumbs for other people to experience and to, you know, ignite the what if. What if the Bible is real? What if love is real? What if these are nice? And you know, my narrative and my experiences are all throughout my music, and we do podcasts to go even deeper into this stuff. And I'm just being able to pay it forward, like what it continually does for me. You move, and I moved from a place of, for years, of like like needing to see them. There's one, wow. You know, like you get into like a dry place, you're like, I wish I could see one. I ain't seen one in a long time, you know, and you don't see them, but it moved from a place of having to see physically to move vibrationally and just feel it. Now I can feel and know when they're there, and those things. Like, you don't have to keep giving me a sign that you're there. I know you're there, and they know everything about you. They can read your aura and know everything about every life that you lived. And you can lie to people. You can't lie to these energies, because that's how they communicate. That and we have that ability too. Bits and pieces we're remembering, because one thing that they'll tell you when you meet a so-called angel or whatever, a higher being of your order, is people that ask about worshiping them and all that kind of stuff. They'll get in trouble if humans begin to worship them. That's why they stay away, because we do. Listen, we worship people with money. Like, how much more would you worship an ascended being that is like, just being in their presence, like, you feel unworthy? Like, and so it's even hard to talk to Jesus many times, because when I feel his presence, it's so much glory and beautiful. I just want to weep and cry, because like it's so much higher. But their message, Jesus, all of the prophets, all of the angels, is to, hey, I'm pulling you up higher. I don't want you to worship me. Jesus isn't begging anybody to worship him. He says, worship God, because I am you, you are me. I've gone to prepare a place. Follow my lead. All of the angels, the aliens, all of that, they have to reduce their glory in order to communicate with us and give us messages. And if we see them in their beauty, and we'll think they're special. And their thing is, no, you got to get this. You're special. Whatever you see in me is because it's in you. If not, you couldn't see this in me. And to see the angels, to have the encounters, to see a person shift into an angel in front of you, and for a moment show you their glory. The beauty of that is you want to worship it, because it's like you can feel it, and you don't feel worthy because you're in this body right now, but you catch a glimpse of eternity. You start to remember why you're here. You start to ask the deeper questions. And that has been my journey, and still is, man. And it's a Bible journey. The book of Revelation, and the angels came and gave information to John. He wanted to worship him like many times over. And he says, wait, I'm a prophet like you. I know I'm in an ascended state, but come on, why we show up and the first thing you do is worship me? I am you from another time.
Yeah.
And he says, don't worship me. He says, worship God. And that's what the angels say. So when there's a difference about what is demonic and what is good and all of that, see who it's pointing to. If it's saying, yes, worship me, honor me and all of these things. No, they're telling you to look within, go back to God, go back to source. And even by even having a sighting, when it's connected at a soul level, or if they show up right in front of you, or give you downloads in the night, or take you off planet and teach you in your spirit, all of this stuff's going on, and it's ramping up. We're experiencing this in real time right now.
Yeah. That was beautiful, Derek. That was wonderful. Sorry, Sharnael. I was going to say one final thought. Do we need to finish quickly?
Yeah, I just was going to go back to the feelings and the emotions and dealing with stuff. When I started having contact, one of the bigger ones that happened to me, whatever, I lost 8 hours of time. I saw a light out the window and, went to go look, and then, everything, I woke up or came back. I was sitting on my bed with my hands up in the air, had this whole thing that happened, remembered a lot of it, but the main things that I remembered literally changed the direction of my life. Yes, I felt so much love, and I was confused about the missing time part, and it was like, wait, because I felt discombobulated and just out there, but it did bring a really deep healing in me. And also I just cried so much, and that was during a time of intense fasting, really had quit everything and was just soaking hours and hours a day and really, really seeking after it. And John Paul used to say, what you focus on, you make room for. And so when we actually, put our intention that way, and then we're working on ourselves and really, really seeking, and, it's knock on the door and you'll see it. That's true for any who's interested in having these type of encounters or seeing things. We all have access. There's nobody that can't have access. It's just a matter of, do you choose to have access, and what are you going to do in order to get yourself conditioned to get to that place? And so I just want to throw that in there, because it definitely changed me. And the bigger second one, they come all the time now. They've came for all the major things, but when 2 came in my living room, that literally changed my entire career and purpose to literally live true and to spread the word of living true and being true, not just saying things that are true, but actually live in a life of truth and light. And so again, I love doing shows like this with you guys, because the whole reason for this platform is for us to share, for us to get people who have different experiences on, and to equip people to their highest, and for them to not have to look externally for this or that, but it's all inside. It's all an inside job. Everything is in. And so when we work on us, we're actually working on the world as we work on us. It's not about trying to make someone do this or think that, or do this for you or them, or to think the same way. Because when you push and you're trying to get someone to see your version or your perspective, that's not any different than them trying to do it to you. And it's not a fun thing. It's control and witchcraft. And so just be you. And that's how I see it, is be you. And if you really choose to have encounters like this or contact of any, work on your diet, work on your frequency, and go inside and go start working on the inner part and inner hearts. And, but yeah, Craig, and then I guess we'll just wrap up with where people can find you. And don't forget, we have our membership meeting on the 23rd with Dr. Stephen Haresfield, who wrote the Metaphysical Bible and a few other books that are pretty huge. And any final words, Craig? Oh,
that's the one. He's even got it there.
Oh, there you go. Andy have it. Yes.
Pulls it out.
Good book.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, we've got him on. Our show with him was amazing. But I just wanted to make sort of the final comment, really. Something that's come to my mind recently. Well, we're speaking a lot about John Paul Jackson, and big fan of John Paul Jackson. And there's a podcast out there. I'm sure Justin Abraham on Company of Burning Hearts podcast has this for free if people want to listen to it. He has in Southampton in the UK. John Paul Jackson was doing a meeting and he was talking about dream interpretation. And as he was talking, there was orbs and lights started flying around the church building
every single time. Every time.
But what's interesting about this is you hear the reaction of the people screaming and shouting at these lights flying around, and it sends chills down your spine. It really does. So it is out there. And
it actually rained one time in the building. In Chicago. It literally rained inside. We all could feel it on our hands and everything. But keep going.
Bizarre. See, this is I love this stuff. This is what I live for. Like, I love weird stuff. Normal's boring.
Yeah.
But I just one final comment from me is as I've been engaging and stuff like this, I've found that they actually care very little what we believe. What they're after is what frequency are we operating on, and if what we believe raises our frequency, then brilliant, go for it. And just I just think we again get rid of that fear and that worry, and because if you're in fear, you're not going to get the encounter because you're in that negative vibration. So it's time to let go, trust God, trust that everything, the universe is engineered in our favor. We're safe, and let's grow together and become a cosmic family again, because we've been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Any final words, guys? Before we pop off here, and thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us.
Yeah, this was a wonderful talk. I would just like to say, remember that everybody here has a star family, every single person. So even if you don't see them, or you don't think that you've made contact with them yet, they are guiding you. You do have an ascension team, and your star family loves you so much, and they can help you with healing so much. It's so transformative. It's so beautiful, just such a beautiful experience. So yeah, just know that you've got support, you've got family out there. And it was wonderful meeting you, Derek. Also, we'll have to link up after this. That was a pretty freaking awesome Merkaba.
We were hoping you guys would link up. We did this on purpose. So
yeah, you guys on each other's show will be amazing.
Yeah. No, I seen y'all's interview you did together, and I was blown away. I love your work. Yeah.
So nice. Yeah, I'm gonna check you out after this. It was really nice meeting you.
I do have the Merkaba video. It'll be on my website, just an easy, quick link. It's on there. You just got to dig for it. But you can just go to my Facebook, and if you click my videos, you'll see it. And or if you probably can even type in Merkaba under videos on Facebook, because it like went viral and it gets a lot of traffic, and people are like crying watching it. It's amazing. Like, I was able to use it to minister, you know what I'm saying, and try to spin a narrative versus, hey, UFOs, be careful. Like, hold on, let me show you some imagery and antiquity of biblical art and those things. And what does the word Merkaba mean? It means chariot or vehicle, something that you travel in. And it depends on the color, what it's made out of, all of those things within the Bible. So definitely go check out the video. If you like the image, I've got so much more, of all of this crazy stuff's going on, man. And it's been going on. There's been, communication between the worlds, if you will. And, as the government has their, controlling the narrative. But we can only hope that there's some positive stuff involved with it too. There's interactions in between them going on with those jets dropping stuff off, and the UFOs come by and pick it up. I've got all of it on camera. Wow. They drop things, and a UFO comes and picks it up and takes off with it and turns colors, like wild stuff that you've never seen anywhere online. You're going to start seeing more of it as people are filming and our skies are teeming with life. So definitely know that you are eternal. Know that you came from the stars, and to come here to experience this, maybe there was a lesson that you needed to learn. Maybe you're asking for a raise. Maybe you're asking for a higher level, and you're here to be tested to see what you would do as a watcher, as one who is over a lot more people. They're giving you a body to be over. They give you a family and friends to be over. So much time and energy and attention to see how you'll respond. And I really do think that that's why we're here, that we have the ability to ascend to higher levels and frequencies. And there's different versions of ourselves, or our orders, if you will, that are seated with Christ in the stars. Fixed, the word seated is fixed, and the word fixed is a constellation as the fixed stars, that we are here on earth, but a piece of us is in the stars that is eternal. And this experience is amazing. We are getting an upgrade as a whole, not just us individually. It was individually, just little places here and there, but now it's collectively. Now it's so many people. The whole planet is shifting and upgrading, and everybody's in on it now.
Boom.
That was actually the scripture when I first met Bob. I got that before he came into my life, and I kept going, seated, that's past tense. Does anyone see this? You know how you look at and you read it, and you see it like a bunch of times, but then one time you look at it and it looks very different. I'm like, seated, like before, like we're already there, like that's already happened. And then and that I was really meditating on that when all of this stuff started to happen for me. So, and then I started seeing it everywhere. I was like, anyway.
Yeah, every name in the Bible, in the New Testament as well as Old, has something to do with the celestial realm. The elders, the word elders means celestial council. The word camp of Israel means host of angels. The deacons travel back and forth. Like they've given us a watered down, like fleshly version that when we hear those words, it doesn't hold power anymore because they've given us an image with it. But when you break those words down, it's all about the stars. It is about the cosmos and us in our relationship to go get permission, authority, all of that back from the stars, where we came from.
Amazing. Wow.
Yes. Well, you guys can find me on the channel. Please make sure and subscribe and hit notifications. Because if we have different things coming up, like I have Daniel Brinkley coming up talking about his book and his near-death experiences. He's had many, and he's going to talk about the light and what have you. I have Kelly Marie coming on, and she's going to, oh my gosh, I know that you've had, Truth Seekers had her on.
Oh, she's awesome.
She is, yeah, she's next week. And oh my gosh, you guys are in for a treat with that interview. But yeah, go to swiftfire.org. You can get on the newsletter, find out all the new shows that are coming up, but also just hit that subscribe. Please hit the subscribe and the notifications, because so many times people will say, oh, I didn't know you were having this person, or I missed it. And we have this on Facebook with this very minute, but we normally don't put the show on Facebook anymore. So if you guys are seeing this on Facebook, especially if you want to see the show, definitely hit that notification and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, you won't always catch it. We only do this like maybe every 2 months where we actually do it live on Facebook anymore. So Craig, how do we find you and your music and your channel and all of that? And then we're going to go for the day.
Yeah. I'm on Facebook, Craig Martin Walker, I'm called. I do have a meditation music channel. My last video was done with some of amazing footage that Lily took of the stars from certain constellations, which was just amazing. Lily, you were told, weren't you, that these pictures would carry a frequency? Is that right?
Yeah, I was making contact whenever I took these photos, and some of those photos made my ears ring. So there's frequencies.
I've been having my ears ring whilst we've been having this conversation. So they're listening in. They're very interested in this conversation for sure. Yeah. So Ascension, Craig W. Ascension Meditation, it's called. The link is in the bio. Just I love to connect with people. I'm in a band called Nth Ascension. Check that out. But yeah, thank you everyone for this conversation. It's been extremely, extremely good.
Awesome. And if you choose to be with us on the 23rd, you can hit the subscribe for our channel membership too. And thank you again for everybody being here and hanging out. I have lots of people that I don't really know that we have on the show, but I feel like I know you guys in a weird way because you've been on so many times, and I just like vibe with you so much and just love your work and appreciate you guys and honor you guys and celebrate all of your victories and all that. I kind of stalk all of you too and watch all your things, and just thanks for your service in humanity and your place in humanity. I just so happy that we get to do this together and co-labor, co-mission, co-play, whatever you want to call it. And thanks everybody who's watching too. We love you and we appreciate you, and we will see you next week, Thursday at noon. Have a good one, and thanks again. Talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.